stories of the Bible
Okay,
and
let's play some
Elvis Spur
damn
depicted
chess.
male circumcision using Legos. Would you like to see a screenshot? Ladies and gentlemen, even in Legos, this looks really unpleasant. And then the Brick Testament helpfully illustrates God's man David presenting the 200 foreskins to the king, and he's counting them off. Anyone else wonder why God, the intelligent designer, created men with foreskins and then spent the whole Old Testament asking him to get rid of them? I don't really understand that. It's bizarre. Of course, fundy Christianity condemns anything but what it considers to be biblical marriage. We're seeing this going on in states, especially throughout the Bible Belt, with all these draconian laws going through. Biblical marriage. One man, one woman, as it was from the beginning of all things. Well, actually, the Bible has several models for marriage. As most of you know, there's one man, one woman. And then we've got one man and his wife and the man's concubines. By the way, the biblical concubine was essentially an unmarried sex doll. Abraham had a concubine, or had many. Gideon, Jacob, Solomon. Other godly men, they enjoyed boinking their mistresses, you know. There's one man and his wife and the wife's slaves. Remember, the biblical Abraham, a Christian hero, fathered a kid with Sarah's female slave because, you know, the old wife just wouldn't conceive. There's one man and his wife, and his other wife, Esau, David, Solomon, Belshazzar, others. They were polygamists. One man and his rape victim. God commands this after the rape. Deuteronomy 22, if a man happens to meet a virgin who is not pledged to be married and rapes her, and they are discovered, he shall pay her father 50 shekels of silver. He must marry the woman, for he has violated her. Remember that in the Christian Bible, rape was not a violation, a crime against the woman. It was a property crime against the man. And then there's the terrifying edict from Yahweh in Numbers 31. One man and his kidnapped virgin, right? Yahweh allowed the Israelite soldiers to spare female virgins to be kidnapped for themselves. Now, say that these polygamy, concubine, marry your rapist verses out of the Quran. Watch Christians lose their minds with indignation. That's abnormal. It's perverse. It's barbaric. It's culty. It's abusive. It's so very, very wrong. Read it out of the Bible and watch the most amazing tap dance you have ever seen. It was a different time. It was the old covenant. It's metaphor. It's a mistranslation. You're using the wrong translation. We only hold to one man, one woman like Adam and Eve. It's Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. You ever heard that? By the way, have you seen there's actual Adam and Steve action figures? You can buy these. No, you can buy this on the internet. Great gift, great stocking stuffer for the biblical literalist.
I see a dick in your future. I see a dick. I see a dick in your future. I see a dick.
Buried under our physical selves. It was driven here 75 billion or trillion years ago by the intergalactic dictator Xenu, and those contaminated thetans are responsible for all that's bad, sickness and disease, exist beyond the body and the mind.
Just one of those pieces of goodbye for free, too.
Now, Christianity mocks the thetan, but they say that human souls are our driving forces beyond the body.
Wow.
They must be cleansed.
Wait, she has a speedy pick, Norm?
Cultly with Scientology, normal in Christianity. My soul finds rest in God alone. Psalm 62:1. Christian skeptics go after the Islamic story of Muhammad riding the winged horse up into heaven. What a total crock! That's crazy. That's Harry Potter stuff. Unbelievable. But the biblical Elijah
wow, put your black ass was stolen, even if you are white.
Christians mock the Heaven's Gate cult for its wacky end-of-the-world conspiracy. You guys remember Heaven's Gate? I think it's been about 20 years. For those who may not be familiar, quickly, Heaven's Gate is a cult that believed that there was a spaceship flying behind the Hale-Bopp comet back in 1997. And if they committed mass suicide, they would then be transported to this spaceship so their consciousness could be transferred to next level bodies. This is Olympic level crazy. Okay? Christianity points and gawks and says that's unbelievable. Who could ever go for that? Okay, let's quickly compare Heaven's Gate with the biblical prophecy about the end of our lives and the end of this physical world. Okay? The book of Revelation declares that the following things are going to happen during the apocalypse, which is the final destruction of the world. Revelation says one day soon, bloody, fiery hail will rain down upon the entire planet. That a star named Wormwood will poison Earth's water supply. The 200 million horsemen will murder a third of the planet's population. And that 7 plagues, oozing sores, blood seas, blood rivers, heat waves, darkness, drought, and earthquakes will engulf humankind. But wait, we're not done yet. Revelation 17 says that the whore of Babylon will ride the earth upon a scarlet beast with 7 heads and 10 horns. These heads and horns symbolizing rebellious kings.
Stupid!
Just in case,
cause that was stupid.
Enough, a heavenly
I just eared your
dressed
breath.
in a bloody robe
I cutting off your left ear.
Horse, gather all the flying birds and command them to, quote, eat the flesh of kings, generals, and the mighty, of horses and their riders, and the flesh of all people, free and slave, great and small. Amid the chaos, everything is going to go black. The sky will split open. Mountains and islands are going to move around like chess pieces. And the Antichrist is going to require all survivors to take the mark of the beast to declare their allegiance to Satan. Before Jesus finally arrives to mop up and take to heaven all the remaining Christians who haven't panicked themselves into a freaking heart attack. Now, if Heaven's Gate had tried this story on Christians, what would the reaction by Christians be? It holds no such reservations for its book of Revelation. And even if you clumsily lean into it's just allegory. They're just symbolic stories to teach us.
Come on,
lessons.
bitch.
Somebody tell me what an allegory about a blood-drunk, multi-headed, dragon-riding space prostitute means for the rest of us. Somebody help me with that. It outgates Heaven's Gate. Should this stuff be taught to children? I will say that it gives those of us in this room pause. How's that? Okay? But in the church, they believe it's just fine, even necessary. It's critical to do so. And as I draw to a close, it brings me back to those brainwashed kids in the Baptist church parking lot. What if we altered the conditions of their little reenactment just a little bit? Still Jesus. Still the sacrificial lamb, still the atonement. But instead of nailing him to a faux cross, we changed the method of execution to the noose. Instead of crucifixion, Jesus would die by hanging. And imagine this in your mind as a children's play. Jesus is put on trial before Pilate, and the child actors are screaming, "Hang him! Hang him!"
Damn! Damn!
And there's an 11-year-old Jesus character, and he's dragged by the mob out toward the
Damn it.
gallows, and the rope is already looped, and it's swinging and swaying in the wind. And the child Jesus is made up to look bruised, and he's staggering, and he reaches the platform, and the crowd is taunting and jeering and awaiting, eagerly awaiting the snap of his neck. And there's
Come on, you
wild
fucking
applause
bitch.
as the noose is looped and tightened around the boy's throat. This is Photoshop. I did not subject a child. I did not put a noose around a child for the purpose of my PowerPoint today. This is Photoshop. An example to try to give you that visual. And imagine it. He's up there. There's a hooded executioner, and he's got his fingers on the trapdoor handle, and the kids continue to scream out, "Hang him! Hang him!" And their parents watch with pride. And after a few tense moments, the trapdoor spills the Jesus child 6 feet before jerking his body to a halt, and a nearby Foley artist snaps a twig to simulate the breaking of the neck.
Come on, you stupid bitch.
And the corpse is then lowered to the ground, transported to a styrofoam tomb. And then some exposition is given to simulate the passing of 2 days. And then the child, with his neck permanently scarred from the rope, emerges to forgive his murderers. Same atonement story. I just changed the method from a cross to a noose. But because the noose version has not been normalized for 2,000 years, notice how the updated version makes you feel. There's a difference there. And I'd wager that those Christian parents that are so misty-eyed about the cross would be offended and horrified, rightly, by the noose. Oblivious to the creepy, cannibalistic, morbid, tragic, horrifying cornerstone story of violence and death they have attached to their so-called religion of love. You and I know it's all bullshit anyway, right? We know the whole bloody story's ridiculous and offensive. Why was the spilling of blood even necessary? God creates the universe. He can't simply speak forgiveness into existence. It makes no sense. Why would he create the mechanisms that enabled original sin in the first place? Why did he create Lucifer, his own arch enemy? Right? This predated the earth. Why would he do that? Why would he create the wrench in his own perfect plan? Why would he manufacture a never-ending torture chamber? Christians casually accept this. They say crazy stuff like, well, the Lord doesn't send you to hell, you choose hell. I'm sorry. Who would choose hell? Why would God's plan involve impregnating an unwed teenager via ghost sex so that the offspring could do 33 years of unverifiable miracles for a few random people 2,000 years before the invention of the video camera, before quote-unquote dying on a cross, which makes no sense because he's invincible and cannot actually die. His spirit moved around, but he didn't die. The more accurate description of the Easter story is Jesus had a really shitty weekend for your sins. By the way, I thought it would be really good to include at least one slide that wasn't white Jesus. Like, I know it's Georgia, so I mean, that's probably most of what we see around here. But, you know, Christians worship a guy from the Middle East, and he looks totally white. It's bizarre. He looks like this, right? Actually, these days, he looks a little more like that. I'm thankful. Many professing Christians have actually walked away from a lot of this insanity. They sort of custom-fitted their own religion, and they've excised out a lot of the awfulness, and I admire that. I really do appreciate that. You know, they quote a few love verses, and they have sort of customized a better-fitting religion that speaks to their values. Many of these people are our allies in the fight for good. They might pray before a meal, but they remember to thank the cook. You know, they realize they're more likely to get an A on the test if they actually study instead of just throw out a prayer. They lock their doors and protect their families instead of just calling down a prayer of protection. They actually get the COVID vaccine instead of declaring Jesus is my antivirus. They get angry about injustice. The mega pastors that have all the millions in the private jets abusing other people's pocketbooks, you know, they don't believe that we're born broken and unworthy. They certainly wouldn't have endorsed a children's murder play. They'd be just as horrified as you and I are. That's a
Fuck
step.
that shit.
I think that's a step, and I appreciate them for that. And if you happen to know one of these Christians, or this speech happens to find the ear of of one of these Christians. I think we're on the same side in many important ways. But I'd like you to examine the
goddamn bitch.
irony of a non-fundamentalist Christian. In order to find Christianity palatable, in order to reject religious bigotry, in order to not sound like a total idiot, you have had to reject whole sections of Christianity.
Come on, you fucking bitch.
Its claims, its dogmas. I think this is an inadvertent indictment of your own religion. That saying says it so well. If you have to distance yourself from fundamentalism, there is something wrong with your religion's fundamentals. And it's up to you and me to say so out there, because we know better. And I think we embrace a world that is better, because we care about those kids. We don't want to see them subjected to messages that they're not worth anything and they have to get their worth from somebody else through blood. What would I say to those kids in the parking lot in the Roman costumes? If I could get 30 seconds with them, I'd say, you know what? Those costumes do not fit you in every important way. Those costumes are ill-fitting for you. Get rid of them. Crucifixion is not beautiful. Atonement dogma is not moral. Passion plays aren't reasonable. You have value.
Pueblo in North America.
She's cute. She's cute. I wish this goddamn motherfucker would move. Fucking bitch. Come on, you fucking bitch.
Mesoamerican cultures like the Maya and Aztec had a complex writing system.
Come on, you fucking bitch.
But most indigenous languages were based on an oral tradition.
Language doesn't leave marks on the land. Language isn't a thing that we can point to in the world. It's something that is done by people, and especially without writing, all you have are people as your evidence. In North America, there's a very complex tapestry of different language families that have crossed over each other. And there's probably about 30 families in North America. There's probably another 30 or so families in Central America, and maybe even 100 families in South America. The original work on comparative linguistics was reconstructing languages that had long written histories like English and the Romance languages like French and Italian. So it was early on believed, you simply couldn't do that in a language that didn't have a written history. The early anthropologist linguists in North America proved that yes, you could. You could reconstruct these languages, and often could show materially that language here was actually a close relative of a language that was quite far apart from it, separated by a number of others. They applied these methods that had been developed in Europe and proved that they could be used for unwritten languages, and that opened the door for people to work on Native American languages and figure out where did they come from, which is always, the question that presses a lot of people when they study us. They also found sometimes that the indigenous people themselves would tell you, oh, well, our language is actually related to those guys over there. I mean, you can ask and you find out, well, yes, we share a whole bunch of words in common, and you go talk to them, you can tell. And although they can't really communicate in each person's language, they still find quite a large number of words that are similar.
Indigenous languages carry deep cultural and traditional knowledge, but tracing their histories is a challenge to linguistic researchers.
Even though we have reconstructions, internally reconstructed and externally reconstructed language families, we can show that they're related, but we can't go back any further. And that's because, unlike biology, language doesn't have a constant rate of change. It changes in fits and starts with long periods of little change, sudden dramatic reconstructions of how the language works. It's not something that we can predict with any reliability. We can show that a language is internally related, but we can't tell you how long the connections are. And we rely almost entirely on archaeology to give us some sort of calibration to our guesstimates.
Oral entomology is both fluid and fragile, and of the thousands of indigenous languages that existed in the Americas in 1491, hundreds have been lost forever.
The exact question of when all these languages came here, as far as linguistics can tell, they've just been here.
I wish this goddamn bitch would move.
Archaeological sites in every part of the world tell the story of ancient peoples and the cultures and civilizations they created over thousands of years. Uruk is one of the first major cities in the world that featured monumental stone buildings. It was built at the center of a vast trade network in the Middle East. Years ago, Egypt was divided into upper and lower regions. A pharaoh named Narmer created a unified kingdom, and there are sites throughout Egypt that represent the artistic achievements from this era. Cahokia was the largest urban center in North America 1,000 years ago. It was part of an elaborate intertribal trade network that connected people as far away as the Gulf of Mexico and the Great Lakes. The archaeological record in every part of the world continues to inform us of the accomplishments and ways of life of our ancestors.
Indigenous people settled in every region of the Western Hemisphere, from the high Arctic to the Caribbean islands to the southern tip of South America. Historians estimate that by 1491, the population of the Americas may have been as high as 100 million people. Population growth in societies worldwide can be traced to the advent of agriculture. As people began to grow annual crops, the need to travel to find food lessened. Villages grew into towns, and towns into cities, with the farmers providing a steady supply of food. The impact over thousands of years was a significant growth of population in the Americas.
Throughout the Americas, civilizations rose and fell like an oscillating frontier through time. Some of them had great periods of development, innovation. Their technologies were among the most incredible. Their populations were significant, and then they collapsed.
Damn it.
Archaeologically, we're looking at a palimpsest. In other words, we're looking at layers and pieces and fragments. It's like looking at a wall of graffiti and seeing one layer on top of another, on top of another, on top of another. And when an archaeologist digs, he may be digging through 10 different layers, or she may be recovering the relics of maybe 10 civilizations.
An example of a significant population surge was the Aztec city-state of Tenochtitlan. Founded in 1325 on a man-made island where present-day Mexico City now stands, it was the capital of the Aztec Empire. The city had a complex social strata that included the working class, military members, priests, and the elites. It was a vibrant city with a bustling marketplace. At its peak, Tenochtitlan was home to more than 250,000 people and was the center of an empire with a population of between 2 and 3 million. In 1491, Tenochtitlan was the largest city in the Americas.
The question then is, what about North America? The Mississippian site of Cahokia was a center that maintained significant populations into the tens of thousands.
Cahokia was arguably the largest and most influential urban center in North America before 1491. At its peak, around 800 years ago, Cahokia had a population of 40,000 or more. The city's strategic location, where the Mississippi, Missouri, and Illinois rivers meet, made it a natural gateway for intertribal trade. But over time, like the major cities in Mesoamerica, Cahokia also disappeared.
We have factors like drought, we have warfare, we have invasion and conquest. All of these things factor into the variable landscape of demography and population in the Americas.
Indigenous archaeologists are much more adept at thinking about the who of the past and the why of the past rather than just the what of the material culture. It's not just a piece of pottery that happened here without humans being involved in the transportation and breaking it and moving it from one place to another. And I think that's what drives a lot of good archaeologists, is recognizing that we're not in it for the artifacts, we're in it for the stories that the artifacts can tell us. One of the most important things about being an indigenous person involved in archaeology is knowing the importance of story, the importance of the individual, and knowing how these all fit within who we are today. There are so many tribal people involved in trying to relate the history of individual tribes, individual places. In the past, it has been perceived to be the role of the expert to tell what the history is, history of place, and it's often has been based on someone else's stories, written reports or such. Now it's extremely important that indigenous groups have the authenticity, the authority, and the right to present the history as they know it.
There
are so many indigenous people who are getting advanced degrees, who are getting recognized as authority. And so now they're able to take that and tell the stories that their communities want them to tell, so that people outside of the community can really understand what has gone before.
The sequencing of the human genome has led to many significant discoveries about the migration and ways of life of ancient peoples throughout the world. Ancient Egyptians believed that the soul remained with the human body after a person died. Egyptian rulers and their families were buried in tombs with gold, tools, food, and animals to help them on their journey to the afterlife. The Kabza Cave in Israel is the site of the earliest known human burial. The remains of several adults and children were found, including a boy buried with a deer antler placed across his chest. At the bottom of a cenote in eastern Mexico, archaeologists found the remains of a young woman who died more than 13,000 years ago. Her DNA is a close match to many indigenous people living in Central and North America today. Archaeologists found the remains of a young woman who died more than 13,000 years ago. Her DNA is a close match to many indigenous people living in Central and North America today. For tens of thousands of years, people in every part of the world have been carrying out rituals and ceremonies as part of their burial practices.
While there were tens of millions living in the Americas in 1491, the population soon after people arrived would only have been in the thousands. It's not surprising that the discovery of an ancestor from this period is an extremely rare event. 13,000 years ago, a Teenage girl in Yucatan fell into a deep hole and died. Over the millennia, sea levels rose and water filled the cave. In the 1990s, a group of underwater archaeologists found Naya, as they named her, in 40 meters of water deep in a cenote near Tulum. Testing Naya's DNA confirmed that she is a direct ancestor of the indigenous people living in North and Central America today. When the human genome was sequenced early in the 21st century, it opened the door for geneticists to study the biological blueprint of human beings. The data collected from studying the DNA found in human cells can be used to trace a person's ancestry. By comparing the DNA of modern indigenous people with that of ancient people, we can see how our ancestors migrated and settled down during the past several thousand years.
It's using your DNA to look at similarities between different populations. So there are many different ways we can do it. We can look at your maternal lineage, we can look at your paternal lineage, or we can look at the whole genome. And in that instance, we're sort of looking at
I just eared his work.
Your father's contribution, your mother's, and all of your ancestors. This is just another way to think about our past and figure out how we were related to each other. We are all really connected, and our genetics is telling us that too. To have a really rigorous study, you want to have ancient samples because with the ancient samples, you can date it back really accurately. How long ago did they live, and what did they eat, and also where were they? If we're looking at ancient DNA, we're only looking at the people that they actually were able to extract DNA from. These are only 50 people, but there were thousands of people at that time, and there are very few samples that have been included from the United States and also from Canada. The majority of them have been from South America and Central America.
What does DNA from the ancient ancestors we've discovered tell us about our origins?
Actually, the closest relations to natives in the Americas is from sort of Central Asia.
Stupid!
So migrated in, but a lot of people have questions about, was it just one big migration? Did it happen at multiple times? Did we actually migrate and stay in one spot, or did we just spread all over the Americas? And how many migrations occurred? DNA can only tell us so much. We need to know actually when these occurred, where they occurred. So if a group split off from another group, just by looking at DNA, we can sort of make a guess, but we won't actually know where it occurred or when it occurred unless we have archaeological data.
The study of DNA from ancient peoples requires a culturally sensitive approach and ongoing consultation with indigenous communities. While archaeology and genetics may seem at odds with our indigenous origin stories, they all contribute to the overall history of our peoples.
Going back to my creation story that I grew up with, it was a journey. Because
alright, one word of advice for you. Resign!
That's how I sort of reconcile it with the genetics. We're talking about population migration. Our ancestors, they went on this huge long journey for thousands of years, and I'm a product of that. So not only did they have to journey across continents and oceans, but they also had to fight disease, and once European contact came, so many of our people died, our ancestors, but we here as living people are actually the products of all of that long journey.
When Christopher Columbus first encountered indigenous people in our traditional territory more than 500 years ago, he mistakenly called us Los Indios. He thought he'd found a new route to India, but he'd actually arrived in a world unlike anywhere else on Earth. A world that was home to thousands of distinct nations and millions of people. Today, we keep our history alive through our stories and traditional knowledge. And we stay connected to our ancestors through the material culture they left behind before 1491.
drugs being made, sold, and used. It features graphic content that may not be suitable for all audiences. Your discretion is advised. Hollywood, California. Behind the stardust lies a different reality.
Hollywood usually ends up swallowing people and eating them alive.
On the streets, Hollywood plays host to a thriving drug trade.
Alright, fuck his. Ho!
Drugs. Homeless crackheads panhandle for change on the strip.
Alright, come on. Wanna close up here? That's crack cocaine.
Fame-hungry wannabes use drugs to cope.
I've gone through many doctors and psychiatrists, and there has been those who will literally just give me what I tell them to give me.
Drugs help keep you up. Drugs help keep you thin. And dealers and doctors are never far away.
Amen, that's why I need to be thin.
Coming in and they would be like, "You're Doc Hollywood."
This film takes you inside the world of users, dealers, traffickers, the dirty doctors, and the police, who all make up the $350 billion a year industry that is Drugs, Inc. It's 5 p.m., and 22-year-old Deathy is getting ready to go out.
Oh, God. That's not human.
As a model and sometime actor, Deathy feels the need to network. That means partying most nights of the week.
I can party several times a day.
You suck my dick, bitch.
Always something to be done. There's always fun to be had.
But the constant demand to make the scene comes at a price.
Emily.
Drugs.
You suck my dick,
Partying is
bitch.
so hard. It would be really, really, really impossible to deal with most people if it wasn't for drugs. Just makes it a little bit more bearable.
Born and raised in neighboring Burbank, Deathy camps out rent-free in her parents' pool house. Her living room, a carefully confused jumble of bric-a-brac. Deathy is one of around 200,000 people who live, work, or hang out in Hollywood, California. 25 square miles of real estate just north of downtown Los Angeles. The city is known for its movie studios that dominate its flat landscape, and for Grauman's Chinese Theater, the Walk of Fame, and the Sunset Strip. But for those who call Hollywood home, the glamour is often a little tarnished. The glamour is often a little tarnished. 6 miles south of Burbank, outside the Hollywood Bowl, John is planning a Tinseltown party all his own.
When we decide to party, it's when I come here and I make money. Thank you, bro. No worries. All right, Bubba. Only in Hollywood.
John is a Vietnam vet who panhandles for drug money, and he's good at it.
Oh, hey, thanks, brother.
I do,
Yeah, I know.
John was made homeless by the 1994 Northridge earthquake.
Okay.
He's lived on the streets of Hollywood ever since.
You guys got fun now.
Having seen generations of young hopefuls come and go, John is no stranger to Hollywood's false promises.
Whatever you dream, it'll come true in Hollywood. Not true. Absolutely not true. 99% of the dreams, they come to Hollywood. Don't doing what we're doing right now. Exactly.
Contrary to its glamorous image, Hollywood streets are neither paved with gold nor safe. Crime is rife. Work is hard to come by. Finding an affordable place to live is almost impossible. Deathy has knocked on fame's door since her mid-teens. So far, no answer. Partying is the most tedious part of her quest for fame.
It's like, let's all
Deathy smells
play
like
pretend.
spit.
It's hard to find the ones that are genuine.
In Hollywood, there's a wannabe party every night of the week, and no shortage of drugs to help see Deathy through.
There's things that are just common staples, like weed. You know, I smoke weed like every day. But if I go out to party, pretty much anything's acceptable.
On a typical night out, Deathy powders her nose several times, and she's not alone.
It's probably easier to ask a guy for a bump than it is to get someone to buy you a glass of wine. It's a huge socializing factor. I mean, obviously, it lowers inhibitions. It motivates you to meet people.
Deathy parties on. A player in a scene that's full of players, all jostling for a chance to get noticed. At the Hollywood Bowl, John has done well. Passers-by have taken pity on the homeless vet and his dog.
Thanks, bro. I have one for him, too. Okay. Yeah, that's my boy, Capone. I've had him for 11 years. 30, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 120. Bring that $140 tonight, bro.
Tonight, he's earned enough money to buy a rock of crack. He's happy.
Alright, folks, this is it. That's crack cocaine. That's what I'm getting made. Put in my pipe, inhale, and have fun, too.
Dawn, 17 miles southeast of Hollywood. While networkers and panhandlers sleep off the night before, El Nota is already up and cruising the streets.
You see that green sign right there? On to your left? Behind the windshield? Right there, that place is notorious for distributing big amounts of marijuana, kilos of cocaine, stuff like that.
El Nota, not his real name, has worked in the drug trade since he was 11.
I'm a runner on the middle of the picture where I directly get buyers that need big quantities and I take them to the people with the work. I grew up in this. I remember like try to get away from it, but it's all you know sometimes, you know, but it's just what you know, it's what you do. It's like second nature. It's like tying your shoes, you know.
This is Commerce, California, where El Nota operates.
I just eat. You're right. I just eat. I just eat. I just eat. You're right. You suck my dick, bitch.
There's a place to get it, pretty much.
Separated from the rest of LA by giant storm drains, Commerce is virtually a Mexican enclave. People are poorer than average, younger than average, and likely to be out of work. It's a perfect recruiting ground for the cartels.
Everybody's tied up in this, some one way or another. If not, they got a relative, you know? Everybody, I'll guarantee you one, everybody has a relative that's involved in the drug game right here. That's for sure. A lot of times these people don't say nothing bad, or they don't want to, they may not fess up to it, but they're involved with it because, or they take the money, but they don't ask where it's from.
Hollywood's glamour fails to impress.
Honestly, Hollywood gets all the garbage.
Tinseltown ranks at the bottom of a long drug trade pecking order.
What they end up getting is like the leftover stuff coming in from the cocaine and the methamphetamine, which already been stitched up done.
Stupid
all the
bitch.
care stuff is coming through here.
Don't even think about it.
South Central, all the hubs. And then, like, little by little,
Alright,
into that
fuck
area, somebody
his.
from Echo buys whatever amount, that guy will step on it, and then he'll
Oh, he had too much ass fucking for the day. That ring of fire around my asshole from I stuck my dick in your butt and twisted. starting to burn.
Make money out of
You can't sit down and play another game of chess too butt hurt, ass sore. Nor will you be able to walk straight for 3 weeks. All you'll be able to do is lie in bed and hope your wife will fuck you.
It's party central right there.
You fucking slut, that fucking slut.
Oh, and there's nothing but bad stuff, and they're driving 10, 20, 5 miles just so they can score themselves some real good stuff. That tells you a lot right there.
El Nota acts as a link between the Mexican cartels and street gangs who control LA's
now be a dumbass and take that.
trade.
Perfection, absolute perfection. You just fucked up, cuz.
That means having to be on call 24/7.
This phone goes off.
He's under no illusions about his place in the ranks.
We're all expandable in this thing. It's just a couple of us that is one of them goes, someone else can always be there to take their place right in 5 minutes. It's that simple. So they won't miss you that long. Off this little road right here is a lot of stash. And there's some guys that got caught with like 40 kilos of meth.
God damn it.
Up to Alaska from out here. I don't want to really talk about that stuff because I don't know who they are. Those guys are cartel guys. A lot of movement right there, like for meth and stuff right there.
Suddenly, some dealers spot El Nota and our camera. They begin taking pictures.
God fucking damn it.
Yeah, this is like already hot zone for me. You shouldn't be filming out here at all.
God fucking damn it. God fuck it.
East LA is not a great place to be seen with a film crew if you're a drug dealer. El Nota is nervous he's been spotted.
A lot of people I conduct business with.
God
I want them to
fuck it.
Around me.
God fuck it.
Talking to outsiders without permission can be dangerous.
You have to have the approval of the drug cartel, the bad drug lord, or else it can get you killed.
The city of Commerce is a major drug hub for the Mexican cartels. Cocaine, heroin, and meth come up from the border to this part of LA. Here it is kept in clavos, or stash houses.
Basically, a stash house is just a house with like 5, 6, 7, 8 guys that stay there every day, take care of the work in a room. They don't come out. They just stay in that room specifically to take care of the work.
Stash house crews break up pure coke or meth into smaller portions, mixed with additives to make it go further.
Say, for example, you got a Z, an ounce. From an ounce, you could easily, you're going to pay what? You could pay $7.50. You could easily put out $1,800 out of it if you break it out. But if you double up, if you put cut in there, you could easily make like $2,500 from that $750 investment.
El Nota's day goes on. Tomorrow will be the same. But one day, he hopes to get out.
Wherever I go, I don't want to end up having to do this again. Wherever I go, there's not the room for the rest of my life. It's not what I wanted to do to begin with, but it can't be this.
El Nota and dealers like him walk a tightrope. Police are always on the prowl, hoping to catch the unwary.
We just keep doing what we're doing, fight the war, and catch the bad guys and put them in jail.
Tonight, LA Sheriff's deputies are raiding a house somewhere east of Los Angeles.
We're doing an investigation into a individual who's trafficking large amounts of methamphetamine. So right now they're getting in a position and they're going to get ready to make entry. Hopefully we'll find some product, and if there is, we'll take some people to jail.
The deputies decide to keep it low-key, but are alert for trouble, nevertheless.
When you're dealing with these individuals, you can't predict what they're going to do and how they're going to react.
With surprise on their side, they swiftly gain access to a respectable-looking apartment. On the sofa, in plain view,
That's approximately 1 pound of methamphetamine.
part of a cartel stash. The occupant offers no resistance.
Is your name Emilio? What, bro? For that stuff right there on your couch. What is this? You got drugs in your apartment, man. Is your name Emilio sir. So this isn't you?
Sure, it looks like me.
The deputies make a rapid and thorough search as the interrogation gets underway.
When did you start selling meth? 12. You started selling when you were 12? What's the most amount of dope you've ever sold? 20 pounds, 30 pounds? Around there?
They soon strike gold. It's evidence of drug sales taking place on the premises.
We found some samples here, so basically just kind of like giving out free product to see if they like it. If they like it, they come back and buy more. Correct.
By mixing retail and inventory, the trafficker has played into the hands of the police. He'll face more charges and maybe longer time in jail. All in all, a good night's work for the deputies.
It went down well. The amount of product that we were anticipating to get wasn't there, but we got a nice amount. That was a good amount.
A small victory, and tomorrow is another day. The Mexican cartels exert a powerful grip on the drug scene in Hollywood and LA as a whole, but they have competition. In Burbank, Deathy is chillaxing by her parents' pool after a hard night partying. She got into drugs as a teenager after a hard night partying. Bank, Deathy is chillaxing by her parents' pool after a hard night partying. She got into drugs as a teenager when the doctor diagnosed her as having bipolar disorder. She quickly took advantage of her condition.
It's like a little prescription fairy tale. When I found out I was mentally ill, I used it as a great expel.
She quickly took advantage of her condition.
It's like a little prescription fairy tale. When I found out I was mentally ill, I used it as a great excuse that was in paper and documented that I am a crazy. I took liberties with it.
In her experience, some Hollywood doctors seem all too ready to reach for the prescription pad.
I've gone through many doctors and psychiatrists, and there has been those who will literally just give me what I tell them to give me.
Doctors themselves aren't always immune to fame's seductive power.
Wire's good. We're ready to go.
God damn
In
it.
2009, Dr. Nathan Kimmerly, a West Hollywood psychiatrist, came onto the radar of the DEA.
Okay, so then I'm going to do the 30 twice a day, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Local police had busted one of Kimmerly's patients trying to sell a powerful prescription drug online. The patient fingered Kimmerly as his connection. The DEA sent an undercover agent wired for video to find out more.
Several undercover buys here and meetings with Dr. Kimmerly. We would sit over at the restaurant across the street and monitor it. We would sit up there at the corner and monitor.
Agent Mark Nomedy has been with the DEA for 25 years. In the last 5, he's seen prescription pill abuse become an epidemic, one that he means to stamp out.
In the United States, prescription drug overdoses, accidental deaths related to prescription drugs, just surpassed traffic accidents as the leading cause of death.
But at the start of the Kimmerly case, the DEA had no idea of what it had stumbled upon.
My private practice, it was always in Hollywood.
Dr. Nathan Kimmerly began his career like any psychiatrist.
Fuck it.
But just like any wannabe, Kimmerly gets bitten by the Hollywood bug.
Famous actors, like when they would say, oh, this person has just done another $20 million film or whatever, like, there's just so much energy when someone like that comes in that it's almost like you don't know what to do.
What she said?
this is like major, you know, somebody huge, right?
I can't tell you. She's on the cover of Cosmopolitan magazine.
Suck my dick, bitch.
Kimberly soon becomes hooked on the Hollywood buzz around his celebrity patients. He begins signing prescriptions without asking questions, and the stars show their appreciation in return.
And they're like, oh, I lost my scripts for the 10th time in 3 months, and I mean, could you just fill it, doctor? And then they're suddenly like, oh, by the way, I have an extra pass to like this VIP party for the Academy Awards, and you can have a VIP pass. And literally, I'd be like standing next to Michael Douglas, Steven Spielberg, Sally Fields, celebrities fighting at a party. It was really seductive.
Kimberly's most popular drug is amphetamine salt, an antidepressant widely known by the brand name Adderall. Abusing it is highly dangerous.
There's no difference between distributing Adderall without any type of legitimate medical reason and distributing methamphetamine on the street corner.
What's the med that we're doing today?
I'm sorry?
Come on, goddamn bitch.
Doctors prescribe amphetamine salts to treat ADHD, a condition that has no biological test, and that makes it easy to fake a diagnosis.
I'm telling you, this is gonna be big, dude.
Well, hey, God, you will play fucking pancakes all fucking night long, fucking
Taking large
bitch.
doses, Adderall makes users high and suppresses appetite.
And everyone just started getting seduced. It's like, well, if they're doing so good on Adderall, and you would actually see these people's lives get transformed.
Kimberly's business rapidly takes off. He soon becomes Hollywood's go-to guy for amphetamine salts. In the process, he acquires a kind of fame of his own.
I made Adderall fashionable, right? Patients would start coming in and they would be like, you're Doc Hollywood, you know? But it's funny because it's kind of like glamorous, right?
Before long, dealing is all he does.
He was charging $150 a patient, and then he was seeing, easily 20 or 30 patients a day. So, he's making $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a day in cash.
Doc Hollywood has become the biggest Adderall dealer in the state.
I prescribed 3.5 times more Adderall than any other doctor in California. There was like 1.3 million Adderall tablets.
With business booming, Doc Hollywood starts to branch out. And that's when the trouble really starts.
It's gonna make so much money. It's such a huge hit. It's like Lord of the Rings, where I'm Frodo, right? You gotta be a hobbit. You can't be an orc. Shining star.
Dr. Nathan Kimberly is beginning to crack under the pressure of life as a drug dealer.
I was high a lot. I was experimenting with different drugs. I thought I was really clever. I thought, I could, if I do some crystal meth this weekend on a Friday, I could knock myself out on a Saturday night, knock myself out again on a Sunday night with Xanax or something like that, and then show up as if nothing had happened, right? But I didn't realize, but I was getting more and more grandiose.
It's the oldest mistake in the book. Don't get high on your own supply. Once addiction gets hold, the only way for Kimberly is down.
I masterminded it with this, it's kind of like evil genius.
Yet he continues to grow his business.
I have the power of all the doctors, and I lowest prices in town.
He begins to expand his repertoire. He offers customers a tranquilizer to help them relax.
Did you want Xanax too? Yes. Isn't Xanax fantastic? I don't know how people would function that have anxiety in this town. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Cautious of getting busted, Kimberly is careful to check his patient's credentials.
Do you know any DEA agents, control people, California Medical Board? No. Anything like that?
He's not careful enough. Now the star of his own undercover movie, Doc Hollywood is arrested. In court, he loses his license after attending
in serving the drug needs of celebrity clients.
Anytime you have celebrities visibly, knowingly using prescription drugs, there's a certain amount of the population that's going to want to emulate that.
Like the rest of the U.S., the abuse of prescription pills is fast becoming the biggest illegal drug problem in L.A.
It's a huge problem. I've worked gangs in LA for over 10 years, and I've worked heroin, cocaine, crack, you name it. And this right now is growing faster than any of those. It's hitting all communities. It's not just in one area. It's in the wealthy all the way down to the poorest. Because it's pharmaceuticals, people think that it's safer. They tend to feel that I can do this because it's from a doctor.
7:30 a.m. Agent Jones and his team are on their way to raid a house in suburban LA. They got a tip that dealers are using it to sell stolen pills. They have no idea who's inside. They approach armed and ready for any situation. The agents bust in the door, hoping to find evidence that the house is an illegal pill mill. In the house, they find only two teenagers. The key suspect, their mom, is not at home. Even so, the cops take no chances.
A 13-year-old can shoot just like a grown man. So you have to secure them. You have to put them in handcuffs until you know everything is safe. And then once everything is safe, then we'll take the cuffs off of them and explain to them what's going on.
The kids offer no resistance.
The entry was successful. We just cleared it for officer safety right now. And then after that, we'll start our search.
But the house search comes up blank. So the team saddles up and heads to the mother's workplace, an osteopath clinic. Once they gain entry, agents find a stash of pills in her office. They make a discreet arrest.
The sad thing about these prescription drugs is that the young people that are dying from them, it's crazy. You have to interview the families because their 20-year-old kid overdosed because he's popping these pills, like M&Ms or something, you know.
Busts like these are taking pills off the streets, but with a frightening consequence.
Once they cannot find a dirty doctor or they can't get the pills, then they gotta go to the streets.
Pain pills contain ingredients derived from opium, and when you can't get them, street heroin makes a good substitute.
I was just talking to the director of the rehab. They're getting heroin addicts in there like you would not believe.
In Deathy's Hollywood crew, all her friends are popping pills. Some have ended up addicted to heroin.
We're picking up my friend. She's actually staying in a sober living facility at the moment.
God, fuck it.
Hello.
Suck my dick, bitch.
Among the Hollywood party set, it's hip to get hooked.
Kind of bourgeois. It's kind of a luxury.
Man, she got spit on the back end, see.
It's become an epidemic. Kind of a luxury to have a heroin addiction.
It's become an epidemic.
It's really
it's made a big comeback for young people in rehab. Like all of us young people, we were all there for heroin. And like I heard about a bunch of kids like, from Hollywood and stuff that I'm acquainted with doing it and like doing it together. And like those certain movie stars
using needles is for hardcore junkies. Wannabes prefer their heroin smoked.
It's probably more casual and bourgeois to be smoking it rather than slamming it. I've never slammed it, so I think I was probably a casual user.
Heroin, cocaine, and prescription pills come in and out of fashion in LA, like hairstyles and handbags. But there's one staple: Hollywood's confidence in a toke of weed.
I got your dime. I got 6 grams of the 5 and a dime of good stuff, so.
That good sticky keeps my head right. Dealing street drugs can get you killed. But in Hollywood, there's one high that you can buy in the store: marijuana. Medical dispensaries have been selling weed since the state of California permitted its use for medical purposes in 1996. It decriminalized sale and possession of small amounts in 2011. Today, it's a market worth an estimated $2 billion. To get legal marijuana, all you need is a medical card. The law lists a wide range of qualifying illnesses. Homeless Vietnam veteran John got his card for chronic back pain. A doctor has to recommend a patient for marijuana treatment before the county will issue the card. The maximum you can get is 8 ounces, but doctors can authorize more. Having just collected his welfare check, John is headed for the dispensary.
Hey, excuse me, this is payday, okay? Yeah, we're gonna go get me some weed. We're gonna go get John's weed. Let's go, brat.
Come on, my little buddy.
Alright, what do we got? I need 1 gram of 10 and 30 at 5.
Up to 1 million Californians may have a medical marijuana card. No one really knows, because card holders don't have to register. Critics claim the system is too lax.
Go somewhere else before we split this up, okay? Alright.
John's friend Ken doesn't have a card. No problem. It's easy for John to buy more than he needs and to split the surplus. No questions asked.
Hey. We just went and bought $30 worth of weed at $5 a gram, okay? Now, what do I got here? Some nice big buds. 20 of that was my money, and 10 was Ken's. So I'm getting ready to break Ken off. Here's $10 worth of weed. Hold on.
The system has enabled John to cross the line from weed user to dealer.
That's the way it's done, right? And then I got this, which is the top of the line. And that's $10 a gram. 1 toke, 2 toke, 3 toke, okay? That's how we judge it. However many hits on the pipe it takes to get stoned. Like a note. Help.
John sees his dealing as helping friends. He's not doing it for money.
If I do this for my friends, that's one thing. Okay? Doing it to make a profit would be a totally different item. It's something that I don't do, haven't done, and never will do.
But because users like John can obtain marijuana for others,
come here, you.
Established illegal dealers are facing a problem.
This right here, this is the scale. This is how you weigh out marijuana.
Yogi came to Hollywood from upstate New York in the mid-2000s to make it in the movies. But like many others, he found that big break elusive.
There's I think only like
God damn it.
3-4% of all actors that are actually making enough money to survive off of, because there's so many actors.
So he turned to another way to earn a living: selling marijuana.
I did that back home, and then when things got a little bit rough here, I was like, well,
God damn
I'm
it.
pretty good at this, why don't I try my hand at it over here? It was great for a little while. It was amazing.
God.
At first, it was easy to find customers.
I had everyone from, your average Joe to lawyers, doctors,
doctors to everyone. I've had average people, I've had entertainers, singers, construction workers, you name it.
But now the explosion in marijuana dispensaries is causing Yogi problems.
There are so many dispensaries that have come up. It's difficult to compete with that. There'll be times where I would only have one or two different kinds. People are like, okay, and just for some reason, if that didn't float your boat, well, you're stuck. That's all you got. But when you go to a dispensary, you're shopping. It's just like going to one of these big brand name stores. You get to look around, pick, smell. You know, like when you go shopping, you try on a shirt, you look at it. They also, a lot of people can't smoke, don't like to smoke, whatever it is, just they don't like the smoking aspect of it. That's where edibles come in. This is a sucker. This is like a fruit chew. You can buy them for anywhere from $5 to $20, depending on how strong they are.
Yogi can't compete with variety, price, and legality. His clients are deserting him. Advocates of medical marijuana would claim this as a victory for law and order. Yogi sees it differently.
The big corporation is taking me out, pretty much. At the end of the day, people love going in, seeing a variety, seeing choices, seeing options, and for them, it's more convenient. It's the new trend, I guess.
Yogi turned to drug dealing when his own Hollywood dreams fell apart. Others take more extreme measures to cope with delusion.
I cherish my my misery. It's the best teacher.
In the shadow of the world's most iconic symbol of glamour dwells a secret drug community. Ramsey's been living in a tent in the Hollywood Hills for 6 years. He's a frequent meth user.
I don't like to be all dead and comatose. I don't like to be out of control. I can focus a lot better on meth, and it's also easy and quick.
Like many young people, Ramsey came to Hollywood from a small town out east in pursuit of a personal dream.
Originally, I came back out here for fashion design school at Brooks, which was basically just, I always wanted to get out of Ohio. I wanted to see something different. I was 18 and just wanted to see California. And then once I got here, I fell in love with it.
The dream evaporated, but Ramsey stayed. Despite being homeless, Ramsey prefers the life in Tinseltown to going back home.
There's nothing in Ohio. There's nothing even I want to do. No scene for music, no art. I can't go sneak in like I know the trail to sneak into the Hollywood Bowl, and I can sneak into the House of Blues, and sneak into the Universal Studios. So it's like, can't do that in Ohio. I just sit around and watch TV.
Crystal meth is fast becoming one of LA's most popular drugs. Known as poor man's cocaine, it's one of the most addictive substances on the planet. It does more damage to the body than heroin or crack. It's cheap and easy to make, and it's everywhere.
It's easier to get speed than probably anything because every day I get, anybody looking for me or wanting to get me high? So yeah, meth. A daily basis you come across meth.
The Hollywood Hills offer Ramsey a refuge and a safe place to get high.
I won't come down off the mountain when I'm high because I'm not trying to get arrested. I'd rather stay up here without any food, no water, with no cigarettes for days if I have to. I don't want to go down there and be, it's just going to make it worse and be out there jerking and acting funny and everybody's going to be looking at me and everybody's going to know I'm high.
Ramsey's refuge is about to be disturbed. LA County sheriffs arrive. The deputies are on a mission to move the drug users on.
It's fire season, it's very dangerous. Some of them will go down and use the neighbors' pools to bathe in.
Hey Johnny, did you guys see this one?
Some get kind of aggressive with their panhandling, things like that. The robberies and stuff go up. So what we try to do is we get them out of there the best we can.
The cops soon find evidence of drug use.
There are needles in the trash and debris, and that's not uncommon to find, drug paraphernalia and stuff up here. It's just not.
The deputies are not here to lock people up. They work closely with welfare groups.
They'll give them food and clothing, shelter. They'll offer them shelter.
The offers are usually rejected.
They'll take the shower, the clothes, and the food, and then they choose to go back out on the street. If you're homeless or if you wanted to be living out on the streets, this is the place to be. It's not super cold and it's not, exceedingly hot.
Ramsey refuses to leave. As the sheriffs approach, he decides to make a stand. Ramsey's resistance is short-lived. LA Sheriff's deputies quickly handcuff him and escort him away. Their sweep of the Hollywood Hills continues. The cleanup costs $250,000, but the deputies find nothing to charge Ramsey with. A few hours later, he goes back to set up camp.
We are back up on the hill where I just woke up this morning with a gun in my face.
Move your black ass, even if you are one. I'll put your fucking black ass.
Sidewalk, and I've had too many friends wake up with black eyes and busted lips, and say, yeah, but I'll just find a better spot to hide my stuff so the cops can't stick a gun in my face so easily.
Despite the risk of ending up like Ramsey, thousands of young kids dazzled by the bright lights of Hollywood come to LA, dreaming of stardom.
People get wrapped up in the glitter and all that crap, but they don't realize it's not real glitter, it's plastic, and it's got Elmer's glue holding it together. I don't know a lot of people that said, I'm going to come out to Hollywood and get high and be a junkie on the streets, but Hollywood usually ends up swallowing people and eating them alive.
It's 5 p.m. 22-year-old Deathy is getting ready to go out.
I'm already confused.
This is the sum of life for a wannabe. Every day is the same. Nothing changes. The boredom is crushing. The prospects are not great. On the streets, everyone is getting ready to play their part in the never-ending Hollywood show. John is back panhandling for drug cash.
Oh, hey, thank you.
El Nota is counting his coke stash.
Just checking out the work, see what it looks like.
I see a dick in your future. I see a dick. I see a dick in your future. I see a dick. I see a dick in your future. I see a dick.
I don't believe in the future.
Dick.
I have learned that if I worry about the future, that only brings anxiety. And if I worry about the past, I will only be depressed. So always live in the present moment, because no other reality exists right now. That's true forever.
God
For
damn it.
wannabes, celebrities, and street addicts, the pressures of Hollywood can always be relieved
God
by a
fucking
powder
damn it.
or a pill.
God fucking damn it. I see a dick in your future. I see a dick. I see a dick in your future. I see a dick. I see a dick in your future. I see a dick. Come on, you dick sucker. Man, this is really fucking pissed me off. Fucking bitch. I can get rid of that goddamn bishop. I can ass up his whore. Come on, you fucking bitch. Come on, you fucking bitch. He's bringing out that whore. Get that fucking whoremonger the fuck out of here, you son of a bitch. Suck my dick, bitch. God damn it. You fucking bitch. Come on, you fucking bitch. Come on, you fucking bitch. Son of a bitch. Come on, you fucking bitch. God, fuck it. Come on, bitch. Fucking bitch. Suck my dick, bitch. Come on, you fucking dick sucker. Come on, you fucking goddamn bitch. Come on, you fucking bitch. Come on, bitch. God, fuck it. Man, I fucked up. Come on, bitch. Suck my dick, bitch. Uh-oh. Trying to get rid of these fucking poems. Come on, bitch. Move, you goddamn bitch. Come on, bitch. You're so close to that damn line. Come on, you fucking bitch. I know exactly what I'm gonna do this bitch. Fucking bitch. Come on, you bitch. Come on, bitch. Suck my dick, bitch. Come on, bitch. Come on, you fucking bitch. God damn it. God fucking damn it. God fuck it. God fuck it. God fuck it. God fuck it. No, no, no. God fuck it. God fuck it. God fuck it. Come on, you goddamn. I curse this person to not die of cancer. How do I get this goddamn chair to go back? God damn it. Goddamn pony. God fuck it. God fuck it. God fuck it. God fuck it. God, fuck it. God, fuck it. Looks like it's gonna be a goddamn stalemate. If I can't win this goddamn game, you can't. No. Stupid! God damn it. God fucking damn it. God fuck it. God fuck it. God fuck it. Fuck you, God. God fuck it. Fuck you, God. God fuck it. 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 Don't even think about it! Fucking bitch. Suck my dick, bitch. Move, dick sucker. God bucket. God bucket. God bucket. God bucket. God bucket. God fuck it. God fuck it. God bucket. Suck my dick, bitch. Suck my dick, bitch. God fuck it. God bucket. Son of a bitch. Man, I just fucked up. God damn it. God fuck 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 it. God bucket. God damn it. God bucket. Come on, bitch, move.